The crowded bus swayed through rush-hour streets, packed with people. Conversations mixed with the engine's noisy rumble, but the chatter abruptly stopped when a pregnant woman, dressed in a chic outfit, stepped onto the bus. Every seat was taken, and no one moved to offer her one. Instead, passengers sat in an intense silence, hoping she wouldn't stop by them. Then, a tall, slim man named Malik, around 32 years old, stood up and gestured, "You can take my seat." Malik was just being a kind stranger, but his gesture was met with nothing but coldness. The woman, whose name was Lily, gave him a sharp, disapproving look. She hesitated, her face showing disgust. She didn't want to sit where a black man had been. "What does this filthy man think? Does he expect me to thank him?" she thought. "What if sitting there makes me dirty too?" Seeing her reluctance, Malik was about to sit back down when Lily suddenly winced, clutching her stomach in pain. She lowered herself into the seat, not wanting to, but having no choice. Malik, unaffected by her disdain, stood silently nearby, reminding himself that helping was the right thing to do. What others thought didn't matter, but Malik had no idea that this simple act of kindness was about to pull him into a whirlwind of trouble. Lily had barely settled into the seat when she suddenly gasped, clutching her stomach in pain again. Malik froze, unsure of what to do. The bus erupted into panic as passengers exchanged nervous glances. "She's going into labor! Someone help her!" an elderly woman shouted. But still, no one moved. Only Malik stepped forward, helping Lily off the bus. He flagged down a taxi and rushed her to the nearest hospital. At the hospital reception desk, the medical staff asked for Lily's admission paperwork. Malik, a complete stranger to her, felt cornered. He used the ID in Lily's purse, nervously filling out the forms to get her admitted as quickly as possible. His awkwardness and fidgeting reminded everyone in the room of a first-time father rushing his wife into delivery. A young, beautiful nurse named Sarah, 28, smiled warmly at Malik. "Don't worry, your wife and baby will be fine," she said gently. Malik stammered, waving his hands. No, she's not my wife. I just brought her here." His protest only drew curious and judgmental stares from the people around him. Malik sighed, realizing it wasn't worth explaining. All he wanted was for Lily's family to arrive, so he could leave. Not long after, a man named James, around 30, rushed into the room, breathing heavily. He barely acknowledged Malik before turning to focus on Lily. The tension in the room was palpable. Moments later, Sarah emerged from the delivery room holding a newborn baby. She bypassed James, who was waiting anxiously, and handed the baby to Malik with a cheerful smile. "Here you go, Dad," she said. Malik's eyes widened. "Wait, I'm not the father," he blurted out, alarmed. But both he and James froze as they looked down at the baby in his arms. The newborn had dark skin. James erupted, lunging at Malik with a clenched fist. "You've been sleeping with my wife. You two betrayed me," he yelled. Chaos erupted in the hospital as bystanders intervened to break them apart. Malik, now bleeding from a split lip, cradled the crying infant, trying to explain himself. "I don't even know her, I swear," he pleaded, but no one listened. Lily, now wheeled in on a hospital gurney, was met with James's furious glare. "I'm divorcing you right now," he shouted at her, pulling out a divorce paper from his bag and slamming it onto her lap. "Sign it. I'll be back for it later." With that, he stormed out, slamming the door behind him. After the excruciating pain of childbirth, Lily couldn't bear the emotional blow. She collapsed into uncontrollable sobs. Malik, unsure how to comfort her, simply held the baby and stayed by her side. As the hours passed, and Lily finally fell into an exhausted sleep, Malik stepped outside for a breath of fresh air. He sat on a bench in front of the hospital, trying to make sense of everything that had happened. But what he witnessed next made his heart race with shock. There, in the shadows, he saw Sarah, the nurse, holding a white baby in her arms. She was speaking to James in a flirtatious tone. "Have you taken care of that ugly wife of yours yet?" Sarah asked. James, looking calm and collected, responded, "I'll finalize the divorce today." He paused before continuing, "How dare she cheat on me with that black guy?" But Sarah interrupted him, her voice now cold and calculating. "The black baby is the one I found in the orphanage room. I'm framing her," Sarah said, revealing the sinister plot. "The baby I'm holding is actually hers. Your son looks just like you." James froze, staring at the baby in Sarah's arms, a slow smile spreading across his face. He reached out to take the baby from her, praising her. "You're brilliant. This way, I can divorce her and still be with my real son." Stay tuned for the shocking twists and turns in part 2 of this unbelievable story. Trust me, you won't want to miss what happens next.